Hello, it's Alexia here. Now, I want to talk about something that's come up a lot in client sessions at the moment, and that is the world situation and how things are unraveling very quickly. Things are moving and changing very, very quickly on the world stage. And I'm talking about political changes, geopolitical changes. I mean, whatever you call it, the news, whatever's going on, is creating a lot of anxiety in people. And this is what's being picked up and mentioned a lot during sessions with my clients. So I want to share with you something that I share with them to help them to not to disengage a little bit emotionally and not get triggered as much by what is going on in the news and what's going on, because there's a lot and it's changing very, very fast, and it's hard for people to keep up. And people are learning things that are really challenging their ways of thinking, and a lot of feeling betrayed. A lot are really struggling with many, many different things. So without, and this is not, I'm not going to go into any political conversation here. This is not about a viewpoint or an opinion. This is about you being able to stay strong and in your own space and not getting triggered, not going into anxiety, and not losing it in what's going on, so you can stay calm. Because what you need to do is to navigate through this, make important decisions, stay calm, hold it together for your family, whatever is going on, keep being able to show up for your work and your livelihood. It's important for you to be able to not get triggered with what's going on. So let's dive into what it is, what you can do. So just as a not preempt, but just a caveat, is everything that I'm sharing with you today is what you can then be clearing using my book, Clear Your Head Trash. And so I'll be using the word head trash a lot, and the clearances. That's what we do when we're clearing our head trash. We do a clearance. And so the first thing I'd like you to do is just get a notepad and write down all of the things that are really annoying the hell out of you, stressing you out and triggering you, that's happening in the world. So whether Trump's saying something, whether Putin's saying something, whether Keir Starmer's saying something, like whatever's going on in your country, the election results, we've had election results coming in that are kind of surprising to many. So whatever's going on, this is the question that you need to ask yourself about those situations. What is it about this situation that is really getting me going, that's really making me anxious? So I'm going to share with you an example of somebody I've spoken to and how we unpacked that. And so the person I was speaking to was getting incredibly triggered by the peace talks between Trump and Putin. And so we needed to dig into what was it that was triggering them in those conversations. And so what transpired is that this person was greatly triggered by some things that Putin did a long time ago, and they interpreted that, so that was still very raw for them because of an old wound, because of their own life history and their own experiences and unresolved traumas from their childhood. So what was happening on the world stage was reawakening that. So in this example that I'm going to share with you, the thing that really was difficult for this person to handle was their perception of what Putin did a number of years ago in terms of invading Ukraine. And so this word invading was very, very prominent. And every time they talked about it, I could see their body language getting really, like they were getting angry and they were really getting riled talking about this. And so I was curious, and I was like, so what does that remind you of? And then they then elaborate and say, well, there are many families that go to, where the soldiers, they go to war and they lose loved ones because of invading forces. And so this led on to a conversation that revealed that they were from a military background and that they watched their father go to fight in a war where there was an invasion. Now, they were lucky and their father came home, but they were at the when all the soldiers come home, there are lots of fathers that don't come home. And so as a young child, being in a situation where your dad came home, but you were around friends and other families where they didn't, that clearly had left a mark. And so now this is now playing out again, and all of that hurt is coming up. And so this conversation where we were unraveling it really helped them to realize that what is going on in the world stage is reawakening something within them. And that needs healing. That's a pain that they're carrying anyway. So what we did is we just mapped out what does it look like in terms of clearances. So what is it about that situation that is really known? Well, the invasion. Okay, so somebody invading another country. So the idea of invasion and being betrayed and taking something that's not yours. These are all themes that came up. Then there was loss. Then there was betrayal, which I think I may have mentioned already. And I can't think what else there was, but I just want to show you how to approach this, because by doing this kind of work, the healing work, the clearance work, means that your emotional reaction will lessen. Now, it doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to be okay with all of this. It doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to sort of become a doormat. It just means that you can watch what's going on in the world, not have your emotions just come out of nowhere and just suddenly get you into a state, because that's not helpful to you or those people around you. And it means you can disengage emotionally. You can watch it. You can not be happy about it. You can engage in debates, but you do that in a calm way, and it doesn't keep you up at night. You don't end up, annoying and offending everybody in your wake because of the way that you're going about it. We can hold opinions about what's going on, but when we're able to do that calmly, we're able to have a lot more impact and get our message across much more powerfully. Whereas when you lose control of your emotions, you end up shouting and swearing and offending people and calling them names and all of that. People stop listening. So it's important, no matter what your end goal is in terms of why you want to calm down, but in the first instance, it's about your own nervous system. It's about you being able to sleep well. It's about you not having, not putting your mental health on the line because of what is going on in the world. Now, I know this is a very difficult, we're in unprecedented times, and I hate using that word because it feels like we're using that all the time, but we are in very unique times, and there's lots of things happening that are very different that none of us have lived through before. So there's also going to be a lot of some of the themes you might want to work on around what's going on are going to be things like uncertainty, chaos, change, because we are in, incredible, like monumental change is happening right now at a crazy rate. So the other part of this, it's going to be very unsettling for many, which is going to trigger anxiety, which is going to really challenge people's mental health and emotional well-being, is this rapid change and not be able to cope with things changing and not knowing how they're going to change. I mean, who knows how things are going to evolve? We have no idea. Things are changing so fast. So this is another source of anxiety. So work on things changing, the world changing, my country changing, people changing, and also think about, how, so that can start to help you to feel a lot better and not as fearful around change. Now, another theme that comes up and that I've been witnessing a lot in my sessions with my clients is the sense of betrayal and having been lied to or being played. The word played has come up a lot, and betrayal. And this sense of, I was told X and now I'm learning Y. They told me ABC and actually it's D, D, E, F, G or something, right? And I made decisions based on that information. And so I was duped. Being duped might be a good clearance. Being played might be a good clearance. Being betrayed, being lied to. Those are good things to work on so that you can help to calm your nervous system when hearing some of the stuff that's coming out so that you can better handle it. And importantly, you had made big decisions, potentially with your health, for example, and you need to now have a calm head to make new decisions and to carve another way forward. Then you need to be calm to do that, not be full of anger and frustration and hurt. And I know that there's a lot potentially happening for a lot of people, and so there could be a lot of hurt, a lot of anger. And so we've really got to start chipping away at this bit by bit. And doing clearance like this is what's going to enable you to do that. So, on these themes I've just talked about, being played would be a good one. Being betrayed, being lied to, being persuaded, being coerced, manipulated, any of those words whatever resonates with you, those would be good clearances. And of course, always do the opposite whenever you're doing a clearance. And if you don't know what that means, then it's all explained in the book. Um, so yeah, if you're wrestling with the world stage right now and the news, then those are some of the things you could do. Oh, another one I've just thought of is somebody else has brought forward to me the idea that they're very scared because they think the world's collapsing. And so that would also be another theme, things breaking down, things collapsing, things falling over, things failing. Um, yeah, any one of those things. And of course, the opposite of that is things being built, things being reborn, things being created. And so, one thing I've said to this client is, if you've bought a new house and it's an absolute mess and it's got asbestos in it and it's got rats running out everywhere, you've got to hunt that stuff out. You've got to like knock it all down. And so in order to build your new kitchen, in order to get rid of all the rats and the infestation, you've got to clean it out and knock it down so you can rebuild. And so, once you've just torn your kitchen out and you're standing in a pile of rubble, at that point, you don't normally sit there and go, oh my God, what have I done? Oh, this is a nightmare. You're like, no, this is just part of what's required in order for me to put my new kitchen in. So I've got to go through this, or I can't put the new one in. And when there's a lot of that going on right now. So it's also not getting hung up on the situations that are in play at the moment and taking a step back, recognizing that actually there's a trajectory going on here and where's it heading. And being able to disengage from the here and now and the emotions will enable you to be able to take a step back and maybe appreciate the bigger picture, where when you're caught in the weeds, you can't appreciate. And I was on my walk this morning with the dog and, just looking at nature, and I saw a dead mouse at the side of the path. And it made me realize that actually, there are some people that are looking at what's going on at mouse level. So they're in the grass, they're in the mud, it's all chaos. There's stuff happening all around them. And actually, that was just like a load of walkers going by. So it just feels quite chaotic. Whereas, if they just climbed up a tree and got onto a branch, they'd realize that, oh, it's not, that there's just this people walking through. It's going to be fine. I'll just get out the way and it'll be okay. So it's about taking another perspective. It's about taking a different view, but you can't do that while you're stuck in with the emotions. The emotions are keeping you tied in on, what feels like a very vulnerable place. So if you can cut the emotions bit off so that you can look at it in a calm manner and freeing those emotions, allowing them to work through you, not getting triggered by some of those things that are going on, can really help you to do that. Now, the other part that's going on here is, as I mentioned with this person that I was working with, who highlighted that there was an unresolved wound they had from their childhood around their father. That is potentially what's going on there for you too. So to be open for that, to maybe look for parallels between what is going on here and what have I got in my backstory, in my life that kind of is similar in terms of a pattern. And that's why the question, what is it about this situation, can help you to get there, because it kind of lifts you above. It's like, rather than going like getting lost in the weeds and talking about what's actually going on, it's like, what is it about this situation that is getting on my nerves, and what's that theme, and where have I experienced that before? Where have I experienced that where it didn't go well for me, where I was hurt, where I was let down? And so that can help you to kind of hunt down or identify where the source of this is for you. Because while you can do clearances on these things to help you to lower the emotion around something, sometimes you have to go to the root of that in time in order for you to just stop it from being fed. There's a root trauma, a root event that needs to be healed. Until that's healed, you're never going to really fully get rid of that other stuff. So you have to have both of those things in mind. But a starting point is absolutely the great place to start, is by doing clearance using what I share in this book. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, pop them below. Bye.